a man set up a sniper rifle and aimed at his fund manager. Then he pulled the trigger. Afterward, he adjusted his aim and pointed at the crowd in the office building. These so-called financial advisors actually made their fortunes by exploiting ordinary people's money, getting rich while the rest suffered. He wasn't just seeking revenge for himself, but for all the people who were bankrupted by their lies. The man's name was Jim. He once had a happy family, but his wife was diagnosed with cancer. She quickly underwent surgery, but to control her condition, she needed an expensive medication. To cover the hefty medical bills, Jim went to his fund manager, hoping to withdraw his $100,000 investment early, but the fund manager told him that not only was his money gone, but he also owed the bank $80,000. Jim was furious when he heard this. He demanded his principal back, but the fund manager was completely unfazed. He even laughed, saying this was how investments worked, and claimed he had lost a lot too. Desperate to recover his money, Jim hired a financial lawyer, but the lawyer charged $10,000 upfront. After scraping together the money, Jim handed it over, only for the lawyer to suggest that Jim give up on the principal and settle with the company. The lawyer also recommended finding other victims and suing the financial company together, but it would be a long, hard process, and there was no guarantee of success. Before Jim could make a decision, the bank sent him a collection notice. If he didn't pay soon, the house they were living in would be seized by the bank. The overwhelming financial crisis left Jim feeling anxious and helpless. His wife, seeing his distress, felt heartbroken. Not wanting to continue burdening him, she secretly ended her life while Jim was out. Jim was shattered. He never imagined his wife would leave him like this. Her death crushed him completely. Looking at the ugly faces of these capitalists, he vowed to take justice into his own hands. After shooting the fund manager who had deceived him, Jim stormed into the fund company's headquarters. He was going to take revenge, not just for himself, but for all the innocent people who had lost everything. Jim burst into the office, shooting everyone in sight. One shot took down each person, releasing his rage. Then he pulled out 2 grenades and threw them into the crowd. The office became a hellish scene. No one could escape Jim's wrath. Next, he entered the boss's office. Finally, he faced the heartless boss who had caused him to lose everything. But he didn't rush to shoot. Even with death staring him in the face, the boss showed no remorse. In fact, he mocked Jim, saying people like Jim were born to be exploited by the rich. Jim, enraged by the words, decided to play a game. He put his gun on the table, saying whoever grabs it first will live. However, the boss didn't follow the rules. He picked up the gun and aimed it at Jim, unaware the gun wasn't loaded. At that moment, a large group of police arrived, thinking the boss was the criminal. They immediately shot him multiple times. Jim was then taken away as a hostage. Once downstairs, a police officer who was Jim's friend saw him and immediately understood what had happened. But he didn't expose Jim, and calmly helped him escape.